Hello everyone, this is Will with the Inside Infinity podcast, bringing you a very special podcast today. A very special podcast with a lot of very special people. This is episode number 40, and I think it's time for the Avengers to assemble. We have a great show ahead of everyone tonight. You guys like that little smooth intro. First up on the list of special guests tonight, we have Caesar, who is coming from the InsideActionFigure.com. No, dang, ActionFigureInsider.com. It's because our names are kind of similar. So Caesar was actually at the event for us this week, or not this week, today, and you were tweeting like a madman and giving us lots of fun info while you were there. So welcome, Caesar. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. A long-time listener, first-time guest.
Awesome. Well, we are so happy to have you, and you've reached out to us on Twitter every once in a while, and so it's nice to see, nice to actually see you in person and see you as a part of the show. So thank you for coming, and we can't wait to hear about your experiences today. Next up, we have Jason Haynes, the co-host, or shall I call him Loki today? He looks so angry.
I am. Look at the smile. G'day, guys. G'day, listeners. I'll be taking my helmet off soon because it gives me a sore neck.
It looks kind of heavy, is it?
Yeah, really heavy.
I don't know. For all you Marvel nerds out there, what's Loki's helmet made of? Because I sure as heck don't know. Is it Mjolnir? I can't even say it. Is it like what Thor's hammer's made of? Who knows?
Mjolnir?
Thank you for pulling me out of that fire. I think that was our good friend Pirate Spidey, or Spidey Pirate.
Hello, Will. How's it going?
Good. Oh, what are you doing? You look like I'm
just hanging around.
Are you hanging around? That's an awesome get-up you got there.
I was just surfing the web, and I just saw the Inside Infinity podcast was about to start, so I swung on by.
Well, we are happy to... I see. That was... how many Spider-Man puns can you throw in there in one sentence?
I don't know. I'm looking them up on the internet as we speak.
So can you explain the pirate hat? I've never seen Spider-Man with the pirate hat before.
Who wouldn't want to be a pirate, honestly? I mean...
That's true.
I mean, sure, anybody can get bit by a radioactive spider, but I mean, to be a real pirate, you gotta wear the hat.
You gotta wear the hat. Well, welcome. We are glad to see you, Pirate Spidey. It's gonna be so hard to say. Next up on the list, our good friend from ViolmationKingdom.com, Travis. How are you doing tonight, Travis?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Or shall I call you Thor?
Thor, see?
You have the hammer and
I have
everything.
Mjolnir, yeah.
That's
I'm a geek
awesome.
of epic proportions. Why not? So.
I love it. I see all your other epic Marvel content back there. You have the Hulk. You have a MODOK figure.
Oh yeah, I decorated for the event. Yep.
Awesome.
For the announcement. Yep.
Well, you've been a busy man today too, haven't you?
Oh God, you have no idea. So probably since I got up this morning, people were texting me, and we had about a dozen of our listeners at the event. So they were tweeting me and texting me and messaging me about going, and it's been a crazy day, and it's still going on well into the evening. So.
Awesome. And I forgot to mention Pirate Steve is coming from us from the Disney Infinity Fans Forum, the awesome fan forum group there. I plugged everyone else's site, and actually we are working on kind of some collaboration with the forum, so I definitely want to mention them. So with that, folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight, so let's go ahead and get things started. First off, I just want to say hello and welcome to everyone in the chat room. I think we're breaking a record for the amount of people we have on chat this week. Lots of familiar faces, lots of new faces, so hello everyone in the chat room. If you want to chat with us live every episode, you can do that. We normally record Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and you can do that at InsideDisneyInfinity.com. We are always chatting with the chat room. We had a good group there actually live during the event today, so it was kind of fun hanging out with everyone. So, hello, chat room. So yeah, today is a big day. It's April 30th, 2014, which was the big Marvel Disney Infinity 2.0 announcement. And so we're pretty much throwing the format of our show out the window today, and we are going to do nothing but Marvel Infinity talk and talk a lot about the event and yeah, everything else that we have seen and heard and kind of picked through. So with that, I think we're just going to go ahead and get things started. So first off, before we get into any specifics, Caesar, do you just want to tell us a little bit about how your day went, kind of what happened throughout the day?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I was gonna make a joke, but I won't. So I got there and I checked in, and it was a media check-in, and I went in and they had a little breakfast for everybody, and that was nice. I tweeted you a picture of a donut tree that they had for media, and then we went in. We got seated in the Cinerama Dome, which is a famous theater in Hollywood, and it has this huge screen, and it's a really cool old theater, modern theater, and they were looping this little Disney Infinity video, and then suddenly, unexpectedly, Samuel L. Jackson showed up, and that's when things got started, and that's when I knew things were going to be real. You know, like I was surprised by that, and it was very clear that it was just going to be Marvel stuff, and I mean, it was really cool. I mean, they brought out Clark Gregg as Agent Coulson, and then everybody did their announcements, and it was just fun taking it all in and being surprised. Once it became clear that it was just going to be Marvel, I was a little disappointed because I want to know what's the bigger picture, like what's everything that's going to happen. But they didn't even announce all of the Marvel stuff. So
right.
So that was interesting. But I mean, it was fun to be there, fun to get to see the figures before they come out. I really want those figures. I think they look really nice. I'm very excited for those. So it was great to be able to see them in person, and I can't wait till they come out.
Well, I totally agree with you. The figures look awesome, and if the guest list was not an indication on how big Disney and Marvel are taking Infinity 2.0 seriously, like you, I could not believe that Mr. Jackson himself, Nick Fury, actually opened the show with a pre-recorded message, which that was awesome. What does the rest of the group? What do you guys think of Director Fury opening the show like that?
Me, I'll go.
Yeah, star power. I mean, that was good to have them at the event.
Yeah, star power. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Agreed. Travis, what do you think?
I knew beforehand because they announced it that Clark would be there. So, and I thought maybe he would be like the big star. I mean, he's on the TV series,
right.
And a lot of the movie stars are like too big to be a part of that event. But the fact that they got Samuel L. Jackson to be in there, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, well, yeah, this is legit. This is great. And I saw him as as possibly a playable character. I'm hoping that since he did the promo, that he'll actually be voicing Nick Fury in some respect in the show, in the game. So
that would be cool.
That would be cool, but I doubt it because it looks like they're using a lot of the voice actors from the cartoon.
Is that what some of the other characters sounded like?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, like the Iron Man that sounded like Adrian Pazdar, who does the voice of Iron Man for Avengers Assemble.
Okay. Well, so outside of Samuel L. Jackson and Nick Fury, aka Nick Fury, having Clark Gregg there be actually live on stage, that's a pretty big deal, and that was kind of like my first, outside of the already obvious Marvel presence, that was kind of my first indication that, wow, this is big, and it's even going outside of the Avenger, a little bit of the Avenger stuff, because yes, Agent Coulson has been in previous movies, but now he's kind of known for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series, and having him like an active movie star, but also TV personality being live at this event was a pretty big deal, I think. Cool. All right, folks. Well, let's. Thanks, Caesar. Thanks for telling us about that. We're all really jealous, and we'll be pulling up photos that you took, because you did take a lot of photos throughout the event. So first off, they kind of started the show off showing. They introduced Disney a little bit, and they discussed how well Disney Infinity is doing compared to its competition, quoting MPD numbers that they've outsold their competition, and if one would speculate, their only competition in this physical. I forgot what the new buzzword they said. This physical toy.
Interactive gaming.
Yes, interactive gaming. So that's got to be Skylanders, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the only other real name in the game, and so the fact that they kind of publicly said, "Hey, for being the new kid on the block, we're kind of run the show," that was a pretty cool thing.
Well, didn't they also kind of hint at the fact that they originated the jump mechanism, and then Skylanders all of a sudden showed up with jump? So I mean, they kind of took jabs at Skylanders where they could.
Yep. Which is, I mean, hey, it's a competition, and they gotta defend themselves and kind of rub it in when they can. So what kind of came next, Caesar? They introduced the game, and they talked about some past numbers, and then they went with the new Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel trailer, right? Is that what came next?
Yeah, they presented the trailer, and then they brought out Joe Quesada, who then brought out Brian Michael Bendis, who I guess wrote, as far as I can tell, at least the Avengers game that comes with the starter pack. He might have written all the other Marvel stories, but I think it's cool that they brought like a legit comic book writer to write the story. And they talked about him working, and Joe Quesada, I guess, I think he was speaking for Marvel in general, but working closely with the team to make sure that the characters and the figures looked Marvel enough and Infinity enough.
And for those that don't know, Joe Quesada, he's the Marvel creative director, right?
He's the president of Marvel Comics, yeah.
Oh wow, one step further. I mean, that's huge, because Marvel is a brand that's huge. I mean, it may not be quite as large as Disney as a separate entity, but Marvel is huge, especially with the movies and comics and all the merchandising. So the fact that he was there was also crazy big. So the trailer was pretty cool. So the trailer started off, Jason and I, we actually did a trailer breakdown right before this episode, so for those interested, go check that out. But it kind of started off like the teaser, right? I mean, it was almost frame for frame, the teaser.
There were like a few, they altered the teaser a bit too, like the portion that was the teaser. Did you notice the changes that they made?
Yeah, so the first one that I noticed was an inclusion of a long-requested new Disney character. Was it Stitch? I mean, that was the first change that I noticed.
Yeah, Stitch was the first one.
Yeah, there was Stitch, and then Merida and Maleficent.
Yeah, so before we even kind of got to the Disney stuff, like we're seeing these frames that are very similar to what we've seen before, with these other very specific Disney kind of nods in it, and I think that was a really important thing, because it was like, okay, in these couple shots, all you're seeing is Disney Infinity stuff outside of Captain America's shield, but you were seeing Disney Infinity stuff, and then some of these other Disney characters. I guess they were all characters that we saw, and so Stitch was the first one that we saw. And then if you looked real close, you also saw Merida. I'm actually going to try to bring up a picture of that. We got a screen cap of that. And these, I know all these shots are also on Vinylmation Kingdom's site, so you can take a look at that later in the show, and we're going to link to all of this info in the show notes. But yeah, here is a shot of Merida. It's kind of hard to see, but you can obviously tell that is Merida with her bow and arrow, and I think it's kind of safe to say that she would be a playable character. That's what I would think. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. So what's your guys' take on this? Do you think it was important that we saw some of these Disney-specific items before kind of the flooding of Marvel information?
I personally did not see it. I was trying to write while I was viewing and stuff, so I did not see it until people started freaking out on the website. But it's great, and the fact with Merida is you have Hawkeye that has a bow, Merida has a bow. It's smart for them to create a bow, mechanic for two characters. It's simple to do. So I seeing Merida and Stitch and Maleficent were very important for me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was very important that they did that because a lot of people were asking where the Disney was at this event, and Merida is a very popular princess. It's also another female character they're bringing into the game,
and Pixar.
To tie some of the other Brave toy box toys and power discs that we've seen previously released. So it's good to have some of the toys and the new figures rounded things out a bit by adding Merida to the game. She's a very popular character.
Rafa94 in the chat room is saying that her hair looks awesome, and he's excited to see the animation of that. And I am too. It looks like Rapunzel done in a different sort of way, unwieldy hair.
And I think in a way it's a good marketing technique, because if you think about the whole event, clearly targeted at Marvel fans, and I think that's why they brought in the high-ranking people and the stars, because they wanted the existing Marvel fans to not be turned off by their quote-unquote Pixar look. I think they wanted to cement the fact that this is full-on Marvel stuff. Don't be afraid. We're not, Disneyfying Marvel in that context. But then they get the bonus viral side of all the Disney stuff, because all the Disney fans that have reacted and said, where's the Disney in this event? It just goes viral on the net with people posting pictures of these, and so they're getting both messages out, I guess. But, I guess the Marvel people won't care as much, but the Disney fans really will care, and everyone's satisfied.
I'm glad we saw her on the ship in this trailer, because right before they showed the trailer, they had some power disc shaped shaped items on a PowerPoint, and Merida's picture was on there. So kind of tied it in there. And also they had a picture of Lilo and Stitch up there. So people were probably trying, and they were the two odd characters out there. So that kind of tied it in, gave people a glimpse of what they can expect in the game.
And next up, the other Disney kind of surprise that we saw. We've already mentioned her, but this is awesome. Look at that. So there's Maleficent. And this is a real clear shot, and you can no doubt.
Oh, that's Angelina Jolie right there.
Right? Yeah, we were talking about that. It's not the cartoon version. You can definitely tell that's the live-action version of Maleficent.
Now I'm wondering if they were able to tie it in with her movie recording, and it's actually Angelina on. That would be sweet.
Yeah, that would be. What do you guys think of this character? Looks pretty cool too. Looks pretty detailed. So, assuming this is also a playable character, a figure that you'll be able to buy.
I think that'd be a great release to tie in with the Blu-ray release this coming holiday season.
Yeah.
When's the movie come out?
Movie comes out July?
Or in May. So
May. Oh, May. Okay.
Blu-ray release in probably October, November.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great opportunity also if they gave her that sort of costume change power disc so that she could look like the original movie Maleficent as well.
Caesar, that's an awesome idea.
Or the wings, from the trailers.
Ah, there you go.
Give her the fairy wings.
So I like that, and you guys kind of mentioned it, but we had Stitch, and then we had 2 female characters, which was something, especially early on in Disney Infinity 1, before many female characters were released. It was something they kind of got flack for, and I think it's really important that they're kind of coming out the gate, and out of the 3 Disney characters we've seen, 2 of them are female, and I think that's a good thing.
I also like seeing the female characters in the starter set. We'll get to that later. But.
Yeah, that's huge too. Cool. So yeah, I mean, and there was a ton of kind of stuff you could glean from the trailer. The resolutions looked higher. The animations looked really, really good. Not that I'd ever had any problems with animations in Infinity 1. We got to see some other Marvel characters that they did not announce figures for. Caesar, do you want to go ahead and run down a few of those? Do you remember some of those characters?
Well, yeah, and I think maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I think I'm going to speculate that there's going to be at least 2 more Marvel-specific playsets, and I think one is going to be Spider-Man playset, Ultimate Spider-Man, because we saw the design of Spider-Man and the design of the Green Goblin that we saw clearly looked like the ones from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, and then we saw Groot and Rocket Raccoon, and so that could probably be a Guardians of the Galaxy playset, which it's almost a lock because it comes out, in August, and I think that's going to be, because they mentioned multiple Marvel playsets for this release, and I think we're going to get at least those 2, and those were the characters that we saw as well. Yeah.
So, and we're going to kind of get to it a little bit later when we discuss some new features of the Power Disc, but Jason and I, we were wondering with Groot and Rocket Raccoon if they were going to be kind of a single figure that kind of worked as one, or if it's going to be an accessory character, and that may make more sense. Let me see if I can bring up that Spider-Man. So this was is this Green Goblin?
That is Green Goblin, yes.
Because this doesn't look like, I agree with you guys because the hoverboard looks like Green Goblin, but I haven't seen a character Green Goblin that looks like this.
If you look at the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, and it's easier actually probably to bring up the new Lego set. It kind of looks exactly like the Lego set one. So.
Okay. So Spider-Man would be from the cartoon then, right? Because that's what Disney has.
Yeah, they own that for sure. So that's obviously what they're going to push, and it'd be easier to get the voice cast to do that as well.
Right. So Pirate Spidey, this has got to make you real excited, right?
My kids are going to love that. My kids are going to love that.
I doubt they're the only ones.
It's true.
That looks like an adult-sized costume you're wearing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of old and not fitting.
So I'm stoked about this because the fun part of the Spider-Man video games is just web swinging through the environments, and we've seen a lot of footage of what looks to be like a toy or a playset version of New York. So running through the playset would be a lot of fun with that.
Can I make a?
Yes.
I wanted to make just a Spider-Man comment.
Please.
They when they were showing off the powers of the characters, they showed off that the Hulk can wall crawl, and then without going too much into detail, they said, and that's an ability another character has. So they were clearly mentioning the fact that Spider-Man will have the ability to climb up walls.
Not necessarily, because Stitch actually was crawling a wall in the teaser. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're both right. Because obviously Stitch and Spider-Man doesn't climb up their wall, then he's kind of useless.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but there's probably more than one character that can get the wall crawl ability.
Absolutely.
No, just Spider-Man.
Just Spider-Man.
We'll end it there.
So one thing that we haven't talked about yet is this character right here. Playable character or no playable character? What do you guys think?
I'm thinking playable.
Playable. What do you think? Okay, Caesar, what do you think?
I think it kills two birds with one stone. Everybody wanted Frozone. You get Nick Fury. I think should be playable.
Oh, that would be cool if they had Frozone, the
costume
Frozen
change
playable
disc,
character, and Nick Fury one, kind of like the Jack Sparrow and Tonto
Yeah.
effect they have there. That'd be pretty nice.
It kind of looks like Frozone.
Just give him one of those costume change discs. We're good.
There you go. Where's my super suit?
Oh my gosh. So here is that shot of the Hulk climbing up that building, and then right after this, I'll tell you why I think it's going to be a playable character. That is him on a motorcycle right there.
There you go.
Jason, we were talking about that. That's a different motorcycle than Captain's, but it's still a motorcycle. You think he's playable?
Oh, definitely. That's confirmation of playability right there. Unless, on the off chance that maybe that could be part of a cutscene from one of the play sets, but I think that's pretty much locked in that he'll be a playable character.
Completely agree. All right, guys. Well, that's awesome. We don't really need to go much more into the trailer. We're going to talk about a lot of things that were discussed in the trailer in just a little bit. But before we move on, do you have any last-minute things you want to say about the trailer itself? All right. Let's just keep things moving along. So, what have we talked about so far that we can confirm? We can confirm, obviously, there's Disney Infinity 2.0. We can also confirm there's Infinity Marvel. They said, I think it's safe to say that Disney Infinity Marvel is a playset, although I think all of us here in the Hangout know that it's going to be, there's a starter pack that will include 3 characters as well as a base. But you guys think this is, with the inclusion of those other Disney characters, Disney Infinity Marvel is going to be a playset or a series of playsets for Disney Infinity 2.0. Is that a pretty safe bet? Is that what you guys think?
Well, the starter pack comes with the Avengers playset and the disc for 2.0, the Avengers playset, the 3 starter characters, then those 2 time toy box game discs, and then everything else I think will be playsets, whether it be Marvel or non-Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, and they did go out of their way to mention the fact that everything, all characters, all power disc, even the bases for Disney Infinity 1 are going to be forward compatible. So that really negates the need to have a Marvel Infinity with its own base that is only specific to kind of Marvel playsets.
The only thing they failed to mention was the playsets, the playset crystals. You're still going to need to put in the first game, I believe, in order to play the playsets from game 1.
Well, but that's actually a question that Jason and I were talking about before the show. I didn't really see any indication that playsets are going to be forward compatible, just figures and disc and toy boxes. What leads you to believe that playsets themselves would be forward compatible?
I never thought so, and they never mentioned here or there. So
I'm gonna guess no. I'm gonna guess that's the only component that isn't forward compatible. But it was really, this is the first time. They've always said that it's going to be forwards compatible, but they've kind of been wishy-washy on the details of that. So it's good to know that everything you've unlocked in 1 and all of the toy box that you've created in 1 are going to work in Disney Infinity 2, which is, I mean, those are pretty good, big things, because that means that all of the hard work and time and energy that people have put into their toy box creations aren't going to be left in the dust when 2.0 comes out.
I wouldn't mind betting that just because of the way that it's been marketed as Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel Superheroes, I wouldn't be too surprised if they released a whole nother starter pack that was a different theme, something that was more traditional Disney Infinity, because I don't know, to me it seems confusing because the starter set seems so heavily Marvel focused, if you know what I mean. It doesn't seem to lend itself to the Disney Infinity platform quite as well, in my opinion. I think if they released a new starter set that you could also get the base and 3 other figures in a completely different SKU, whether it be whatever, a Lilo and Stitch starter pack or whatever, I think I could see that working, having 2 different starter packs, and you choose And it doesn't matter which one you buy, because if you buy the Princess starter pack, for instance, you can still just then buy the standalone Marvel Superheroes disc or download it or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter where you get your base from. Ultimately, the starter kits are only really if you don't have an existing, base. So do you think which brings us to the point, do you think they'll release basically, if you don't need the base, do you think they'll just have like a 3-character pack which comes with just the piece and the 3 characters?
Well, no,
And
you're
the
still
disc,
missing the
obviously.
disc though. You're missing the actual 2.0
Yeah, and the
disc.
disc. I'm just saying basically a kit that doesn't have the reader in it.
Well, I mean, Skylanders released Giants with that in mind, but they didn't sell. It didn't sell. The Portal, they called it the Portal Owners Pack, did not sell as well as the regular pack because they were getting that many more new players. So I don't know.
I'm going to say that they're going to give people that option, especially since the bases are forwards compatible. So it's going to be a weird thing to see once it hits retail. But I mean, it's an experiment and it's a platform, so I mean, they're going to go on that. But I'm definitely going to need a new starter pack and base for because I'm going to be honest with you guys here, and I only played on the regular Wii, so I'm going to upgrade to Xbox One for the new.
You're going to have
the
to.
new version. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Go ahead, Travis.
Wii's no longer supported.
Yeah, which.
Right, nor would I want it to be.
You know, for Disney Infinity 1, it was a good option if like for you, Caesar, it's your only option. So in that respect, it's also very good that they are having these full new starter packs. But for those that have forward compatible bases, I expect that they're going to have a starter pack that is the same without the base, and it maybe be $10 or $15 cheaper. But everything else will be the same because, like Travis mentioned, you are going to need an actual game disc for Disney Infinity 2.0. And I think that's where this whole Marvel thing is kind of, it's a big question mark. So is the Marvel starter pack, does that include Disney Infinity 2.0 game disc? And then to Jason's point, are we going to get a Disney starter pack that also includes a 2.0 game disc? And I could see both of those scenarios happening, but we're also going to need each figure and each pack-in outside of the game disc and the base available for purchase individually.
I have a feeling, my theory is they'll just have the Marvel starter kit, and the Marvel starter kit will contain the 2.0 disc. They'll put out enough stuff to get the people that are Disney diehards to buy the Marvel pack just to get the disc so they can play their other play sets.
I kind of agree with Jason. I think you have to have a Disney option there because there's a lot of people that aren't as excited that Marvel is in the game. They think they should have their own Marvel Infinity. So I think there will be some kind of Disney option for people out there.
I would have a problem. I see that their problem would be releasing the 6 characters, the 3 in the Marvel and the 3 in the non-Marvel, as single pack characters down the road. I mean, because you're going to have to give that option because nobody's going to buy 2 starter packs for the 6 characters.
I will.
Well, but individual.
I think people will.
Well, that and breaking them out though too is not abnormal for them. I mean, there have been villain packs that has 3 villains, but then also those villains are sold separately. There's a Frozen pack which includes the power disc, and all of those are sold separately as well.
I just think it's too good of an opportunity to pass up. Like, I just think if they would release a Princess starter pack or something like that that's more heavily skewed towards girls, you've got the perfect, boys and girls starter kit to start off with.
Well, what would your one play set be?
What do you mean? Oh, well, I don't know. I just
that's a long
for another show
right there.
But I just think it's too good of an opportunity, and ultimately it just boils down to this fact that they're clearly trying to build. This whole show demonstrated that I think they're really trying to build the platform, and I just think having a Marvel-only starter set confuses that message because it feels like its own. If you were the unknown to just look at it and I read it, I would look at that and go, oh, it's Disney Infinity, but it's all Marvel based. Like there has to be some counterbalance so that the message still stands clear that this is a platform that all of Disney's franchises will eventually build upon.
Like Lego Star Wars. I mean, not Lego Star Wars. Lego Marvel Superheroes. That's a self-contained game, and kind of the Lego games, but those are all separate games. They're not part of the same franchise.
Which actually brings forth a point I'll just touch on that I read in I was reading the comments in the IGN articles, and someone made the comment of the fact that, you know, you can basically get all these characters in a single game that was Lego Marvel on the current games without having to buy, you know, a $17 figure or whatever. Must have in the States, you know, buy 10 or so different figures to get a similar experience. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's a good point to make that there are existing Marvel games that you can pay one $60 fee and get all the characters playable.
Right. I saw that somewhere else too, and that's kind of a good point. And it actually makes me. I was considering getting the Marvel Lego game when I get the Xbox One, but now that I've heard that comment and I've seen this, I'm not going to get the Marvel Lego game. I'm just going to stick with Infinity.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's. I know, Jason, we've been doing the show long enough, so I kind of know where you stand on Infinity stuff. But I think although the comparison is similar, there's some collectability with both. I still think we're looking at two very different types of experiences, and they've really shown that they are committed to that physical experience as well of the toys and the power disc and stuff. So.
If anything, it just again raises the situation with the brand confusion, because the fact that it's only been shown as Marvel, you can make those comparisons. But if they had shown, no, there's a Lion King playset with this as well then that argument just dies, because it's not an apples to apples comparison. Whereas it stands at the moment, you could make a case to go, well, how is this game going to offer me anything different than what Lego Marvel offered?
Yeah.
Side note, anyway.
Well, I think that's the strange part about this announcement is how they really were just focusing on Marvel, and they made it like a whole Marvel announcement, and I guess that's just going to raise questions until E3 about like what's the Disney commitment. But luckily, there have been enough Easter eggs that we know there's going to be Disney in the game.
I think also we also have to pay attention as to when pre-sales go on for the starter packs, because if Toys R Us starts doing pre-orders for the starter pack tomorrow, that means to me that there's only one starter pack. You're not going to give the people the option. If they don't start it until later, then there's possibly going to be a second starter pack.
I guess we'll see. Time will tell. There's lots of info that's still going to come out, and so as it gets closer, I'm sure we'll know the answer soon enough. So let's talk about the release a little bit of Disney Infinity Marvel. So they said fall 2014, so that's good news. They give us a range, and I guess that's spring 2014 for you, Jason. So
that's correct.
He complained about that in the last show.
Yeah, it's exactly. You said, "Don't give me a range." You're like, "Give me specifics."
I specifically gave that instruction, and they ignored it.
We also know it's not going to be in August. At least that's what they said. It's not in August.
And we know it's not going to be in October, because that's when the new Skylanders comes out, and Disney's going to want to have a jump start on them.
Not only that.
I'm thinking middle September.
Agreed. I'm just saying September. It's got to be September. If they're not going to go into October to compete directly with Skylanders, they have to be in store shelves at the very latest October to really attract that holiday shopping and that holiday market. So yeah, I'm guessing September. Which it wouldn't be funny if it was August and then that leak happened and we're like, we'll show you, we're making it September now. Probably not. So fall 2014, the show's consensus is September. or spring 2014 for Jason. The starter pack, that was actually kind of a pretty cool thing, right? So the starter pack figures for Marvel is Iron Man, Thor, and Black Widow. What do you guys think of that lineup?
Like it.
Yeah, I think that's the smartest lineup they could come up with because Iron Man is obviously the leader. He's the most popular of the Avengers, so he's the starter pack. Then you got a female character in a starter pack in Black Widow, and she's awesome in her own right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they included Thor, which I think mainly is because Captain America and Hulk are arguably almost as popular as Iron Man. So people are going to buy them regardless. So might as well throw Thor in there.
I really dig the fact that it's a variety. I like you, Pirate. Having Black Widow in there is great. We're giving there's an inclusion of another female character to really get that out in the market. She's also I'm going to say less popular than the other two for the sheer fact that she does not have her own movie. She is parts of a lot of the movies, but she doesn't have her own movie like Thor and Iron Man does.
She should.
She totally should. I mean,
she's rumored to be getting one, so we'll see.
Personally, she's one of my favorite characters, so actually seeing her in the game was awesome and made my day.
Can I point out that her figure kind of looks like the Mrs. Incredible figure?
The stance? Yeah.
Yeah, the pose that she's in.
Yeah, that's...
It'd be funny if Merida is in the same, like all the female characters. They get the same pose.
Well, it's fine. Luckily, like her silhouette is different, so we know they didn't just like recycle her. And I'm guessing her head is not going to fall off like Invisigirl's.
That'd be hilarious. And it's Elastigirl by the way.
Elastigirl, sorry. I guess Invisigirl. That's Marvel, isn't it?
That's Invisible Woman, but yeah, okay.
Hey. I'm a Disney guy. What can I say?
What can you do? What can you do?
What can you do? So the other figures that they actually showed off, Caesar, you got to take a close look at those. Do you want to run them down?
Yeah. Well, they showed the starter pack figures, and they showed Hawkeye, Hulk, and Cap. I was really hoping they were going to give out a Cap figure. I don't know why I thought they would, but
I kind of hope too. So.
Yeah, I really wanted a Cap. They all look great. I mean, they look in style and in scale with our other figures. They look just like beautiful pieces. I mean, I think one of the reasons why they really pushed Marvel and did this whole sort of circus for Marvel is, I mean, not only are they going whole hog on it with the play sets, but they're going to bring in like all those Marvel fans. I mean, those guys collect all the stuff. They collect all the figures. They're people who just love Marvel, so they know that if they really focus on that, those people are going to buy all that stuff. And those were beautiful figures. And one thing I should point out about the figures that they mentioned is that unlike Disney Infinity 1, because we are getting multiple Marvel playsets, certain of those characters are going to be able to cross over onto those other playsets and be playable as well. So that's going to be really cool.
And that's a lot of value. It's the closest, I think, for one is the Incredibles playset because they had the most figures that could work in a playset. But that's a constant, not really, well, I guess complaint for a lot of people is that, we get Disney wants to lock down their properties and the playsets themselves actually make sense, but you also want value out of these figures, and so being able to play with all these figures in the different playsets is that's huge.
Wait, but go back there. I didn't think that the playsets were now cross-property.
But no, I'm saying so all of these Marvel figures will be playable, like Caesar was saying, in the Marvel play sets.
They were very clear that they said some figures will be playable in the other play sets. So not all of them.
So not all the Marvel?
Yeah, not really. Yeah, not all of the Marvel figures will be playable in the other Marvel play sets, but some of the Marvel figures will be playable in the Marvel play sets, and that could actually tie into something that I noticed and that Travis was pointing out to you about Iron Man's costume.
Oh yeah, Iron Man's costume. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about that now. Yeah, go ahead.
Who do you want, me or him?
Travis,
go ahead.
why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Well, I was going through with the release of the images for the pieces that you're seeing right now on screen. They also released images of 15 power discs, 15 new ones out of the 80 going to be coming out that are Marvel themed. One of them was a costume change for Iron Man. This costume change is in the description, black and white version of Iron Man in the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it could be that Iron Man could be playable in Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, it reminded me of a version of Iron Man that we saw in toy form only in Iron Man before Iron Man 3 was released. And Marvel actually had people take down the images of this toy until the movie was officially released. It was called Deep Space Suit Iron Man. So I was just thinking, we thought at the time that that meant that there was going to be a teaser for Guardians of the Galaxy in the Iron Man 3 movie.
Which I'd heard.
Yeah, it was a pretty big rumor. It never happened, but it could mean that possibly Iron Man has a cameo in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, or just that he is playable in the Guardians of the Galaxy playset. So
I would like to read the wording of the description.
Please.
Okay.
It says the name of the power disc is Stark Arc Reactor, and then it says try the Mark 42 on for size! ! And then it says unlock Iron Man's black and white special edition Guardians of the Galaxy armor with added boom. So it sounds like there's two armors on one disc or something.
Wow, that's crazy cool.
If you
go ahead. Oh no, we lose Caesar.
I think they obviously screwed up the description on that website because that other Mark costume was from obviously from Iron Man 3. So they messed up putting the images on there. I think they might have messed up the descriptions as well.
Well, 42 is not the black and white. I think 39 is the black and white that I'm talking about. So they might have screwed that up. This was an official description that they released with the image on the asset packet that we got. So.
And did you post on that on VK?
Yeah, there's a story on Violation Kingdom. Yeah, okay. I will. I'm going to post a link on the page on the chat right now, so people can see it. But take a look at the disc. Take a look at the description. I know the description might be a little bit wordy and might be a little wrong, but obviously there's something they're saying about Guardians of the Galaxy in a black and white special edition armor.
So why? Yeah, I don't know. Because this is. I'm guessing that's not the right disc art then for that. And I don't know if that's what you were saying.
I believe, and maybe Caesar can chime in on this. During the presentation, when they were showing the different suits, they put that one down, and they said the Mark 42, and it was the Iron Man 3 costume from the one that he wore in that Iron Man 2. So I think that's probably for Guardians of the Galaxy.
What I'm speculating, Pirate, is that the disc, if you use the disc on the Avengers playset, it'll unlock the Mark 42, but if you use it on the Guardians of the Galaxy playset, it'll unlock the other uniform.
I think that'd be cool and definitely bring more value to that disc. The other thing I want to know about these different costume discs is are they just specifically playable for those the Iron Man character or the Hulk or Captain America? I mean, it'd be fun to maybe put Sorcerer Mickey down and throw Captain America. Those are the type of matchups I'm expecting to see at this event. So what else can we do with these costumes?
The only problem I have with the Captain America one was he produces a different shield also. So I don't know if they would allow the shield to come onto, like, let's say Mickey, because he doesn't have the shield throwing ability. So
sure they would. It would be a tool or a pack, like.
I guess, yeah, okay.
And that's, I think we need to kind of move with that assumption that if you have discs that modify appearance, it's going to have to affect Disney Infinity 1 characters or Toy Box only characters in specific ways, because they've kind of set the precedence that Power Disc are going to be universal discs that can work no matter where you're at.
I can see that, and they are circle discs, and there's 3 of them. 3 costume changes coming out for Marvel, so.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. I guess that's, who knows if that's a marketing kind of mistype, but either way, that it will be cool to learn more about that as well. Let's go back to the character. So the characters look really cool, but I also really dig the Avengers Tower in the background as the playset piece. I like that. Just wanted to mention that as well.
While we're looking at the figures, I just wanted to point out another thing I noticed. That Hulk figure is amazing. It just looks great, and it makes me think about those glass PDP cases that they wanted everybody to buy. I just know that Marvel figures are not going to fit in those cases.
No, it's going to be like the Wreck-It Ralph one where you had to cut a hole out the side.
Wreck-It Ralph and a Hulk that won't fit in the case.
Is that why the cases are now on clearance for like $5 on Toys R Us? So.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the 2.0 versions of those cases.
Oh, that's awesome.
Another thing I want to point out about the figures is that if you look at them, they really do look like Disney-fied versions. Like, that looks like Disney's The Hulk, that looks like Black Widow as a Disney princess. And I really love that look of them, that they do have that sort of Disney, like, that looks like a Disney prince in a Captain America costume. Like, I think it's really...
Yeah, Jason, you were talking about this a little bit before show start. It's, to me, what this really tells us is that, okay, this is Disney Infinity, or this is Marvel and the Disney Infinity universe. It's not the other way around. It's not like, okay, we're conforming the Infinity look to match Marvel. It's like, no, we have a consistent design and art style, and Marvel is going to fit in kind of that Infinity space. And I think that's important because, again, it's showing respect to Infinity as kind of the brand and the property.
Yeah, I love them. I was afraid we were going to see Marvel Superhero Squad looking figures, and I think these are top notch. I think they look a lot better than my worst nightmares.
And I hate to say this because it's really being kind of nerdy, but I like the bases, and that the bases are different. Like, I love, my favorite base out of all of these is the Hawkeye base, because I like how it's like he's standing on that, perched on that rock. And if we look at these two bases, if you compare the Iron Man to the Captain America, those are also different.
Yeah, they're the same theme base, meaning they're the same color and the same type, but unlike DI1, everything was the same base. This is a little bit more, there's a little more variance to it.
Yeah, completely agree.
And I'm just going to call it now. I expect these 6 characters to be Toys R Us Crystal figures.
All 6 of them. A whole 6 of them, huh?
All 6 of these.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
Me too. I was about to say I want to kick you off the show.
Weird as a crystal, but
I think
would look
Captain America maybe.
Oh.
I think Radiation
Iron
Hulk
Man.
would be awesome.
No, Iron Man with a glowing arc reactor.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Or just a different color that, like, so when the light shines through, it like kind of reflects differently.
Well, Skylanders has the light core figures where you stick them on the base and they glow. Why not make light core Iron Man?
Do you want variants, Travis? Because I'm going to kick you off just like I'm going to kick Pirate off for mentioning crystals again.
Oh, dude, Radiation Hulk, man. Come on.
Okay. All right.
They have Glow Buzz in the works. I mean, like, he's online exclusive, download exclusive, but still, come on. Radiation Hulk.
Fine, I'll give you that. So, Caesar, how many actually empty spots did they have up on the stand? Because that was an obvious, like, hey, guess what? We're not showing you everything today, but you have at least this many to look forward to.
I think that he
Awesome.
left. I think there were 12 spots. There were
Yeah,
12 total spots. I wrote a note saying, "Ooh, 12 characters," and I only filled in 6 of the spots. So
Yeah. Well, and I actually had a note 12 more to come, so I don't know if maybe
they said in the official press release, they said upwards of 20. I think they said 20 or more than 20 Marvel-specific characters.
Does that number sound right?
Yeah, they said. I don't know where people are getting the 20 number. I know that they revealed the 6 and they said more than a dozen more to come.
I think it was No, go ahead. Sorry.
But that podium thing that had 12 slots, and I was very excited, wishful thinking, hoping that they were going to fill all those 12 slots.
In the fact sheet that was released with the press pack, it says right here, players will be able to take on the role of more than 20 Marvel characters, including Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, Thor, Hulk, and Hawkeye.
Wow. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
But if you look at it, you have 5 Guardians of the Galaxy, you have at least 6 Avengers, you have whatever Spider-Man comes up with. It's going to be easy to hit 20.
Yeah, and that's not even any of the villains, and they got to get some villains in there.
So in that trailer, they showed Loki and the I can't. Is it
MODOK? MODOK and Green Goblin. They showed 3 villains.
So Jason was commenting on
and Frost Giants.
Frost Giants. Is that from Guardians? Or
no, that's from Thor. From Thor movie.
And I have a memory of a small animal, I tell you guys. But Jason was talking about the villains and the detail on the villains. And
Loki is House Giant.
Loki is what? Oh no, I think we're getting a delay or something.
Loki is half Frost Giant.
Oh, I know that. I'm quizzing you guys.
Yeah, you know that, my ass.
Yeah, it was a quiz. But so at least the main villain, so MODOK, Goblin, and Loki, they were really detailed, and we haven't seen detailed villains in Disney Infinity 1 that weren't figures. We've seen kind of these generic models. So could you see the 3 of them being playable characters?
I hope so. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Do you think MODOK? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, MODOK, MODOK.
Okay. Do you think, because he would be a little bit different, do you think he would be a playable character?
He's a little awkward looking, I think. I would trade Red Skull out for a MODOK any day.
Oh.
You're talking about awkward looking, and you're wearing a Spider-Man hat.
Pirate outfit.
I think with the new hover ability that they incorporated into one of the mechanics, that MODOK is a perfect hover component. So I could easily see MODOK being a playable villain in either Spider-Man or Avengers.
That would be cool. All right, well, that's a great segue into the toy box improvement. So one thing they made sure to mention is that they're really listening to fans this time around. Well, not that they wouldn't be earlier, but we had no idea what Infinity was with the first version. So they said they're listening to fans, and so they really wanted to improve on some of the things that are in Infinity 1 and listening to player feedback. One thing they did was obviously the forwards compatibility. That was something they knew fans were going to want, and so they mentioned that long ago, but it was nice to get some clarification. But then they also, so like the first half was kind of like this Marvel conversation, then the second half was this toy box conversation. Some items to note is that they're introducing new structured gameplay mechanics into the toy box. As far as game design goes, they were really trying to focus their efforts on the software. They pointed out, they did a one-to-one comparison of the Incredibles environment, so the Incredibles playset, and compared that to an Avengers playset, which was the city of Manhattan, and it said it was 4 times larger. And not only that, they showed off some pretty cool environmental effects. So that was, I mean, that's kind of gives you an idea of balance of scale in this version. That it sounds like the system, the software, and the platform is a little more optimized and efficient to be able to pull off that. And who knows, it could just be the elimination of the Wii platform. They don't have to work with that constraint anymore. What do you guys think of just kind of some of those things? What of the Manhattan being 4 times larger than the Incredibles playset?
That's insane. That's just they actually called it Marvel Manhattan. They specifically said Marvel Manhattan. So in the spot where you're supposed to have buildings, you have this massive Avengers. I mean, they were able to take Manhattan and make it their own, which is
that's cool. Well, and the Incredibles playset, it was large for Infinity, but it's not large if you look at other types of sandbox games. Take a look at, since we mentioned it earlier, the Lego Super Marvels game. So it's nice to see that they're kind of competing in that space as well, just the kind of gameplay and value for each one of these playsets.
I think the real question is Jason happy with the toy box changes?
So far, I think it all looks swell, I guess. I think it's good that, I guess, if you've got all the extra power, I think it's better to put it into scalability rather than increasing resolution of graphics, if you know what I mean. Because I already think, it looks pretty nice on the PlayStation 3, particularly with that toy effect. So I'm glad that they, have chosen to put the power into, say, expanding those things. But I think we'll get into a little bit more of the specific mentions. The ones I'm most excited about are all the things they mentioned about everyone who's ever watched my reviews knows that I hate how in Disney Infinity toy boxes don't have definitive endings. I'm so glad they made reference to that in the thing.
Yeah.
The
no more
fireworks aren't going to cut it
cannons.
anymore. That's
no more
it.
firework cannons.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, Jason. We will get to that, and I know that's welcome part. I guess one thing we kind of skipped is there were a lot of changes to characters themselves. So the first thing they mentioned was something they called character locomotion,
right?
Which basically is character mobility, right? It's how the characters get around the environments. Some of the things they showed off were hover and forward flight. That was pretty cool. It looks different than like Buzz Lightyear's jetpack, for example. It looks like as Iron Man, you have 360 degrees field of flight there.
Which is awesome. It opens up it opens up like Peter Pan, or planes, or you add water, and you all of a sudden got Finding Nemo. So,
there you go. So that in and of itself it's a real, no pun intended, it's a real game changer, and the possibilities that brings to the table are kind of things that we don't have the ability to do now, right?
Right.
Yeah. Another mobility, or I guess locomotion to use their term, super jump. And they also said you could level this up. So the animation they showed off was kind of like a double jump, right? And this is what you were talking about. They kind of put the dig on Skylanders, right, Travis?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because John V was like, yeah, and we created jump, and others followed, and now we have super jump, and this. And the fun thing I saw was that, like, Captain America's super jump, or was it Captain America? I think Captain America they showed, and they showed Hulk. Captain America had a totally different super jump than the Hulk. I mean, the Hulk's was just massive compared to what Captain America could do, but they still was pretty awesome that they were like jumping between buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I guess they followed Hulk. Hulk jumped into the wall climb ability, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
They followed right into that wall climb. So,
and I don't know, Caesar, if you remember, they did tease, they teased more wall climbing. We talked about earlier. I can't remember what they said, but it's like Hulk's
another
not the only
character
one.
had it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I think they did sort of were a little more vague about it, and they did make it seem like other characters.
Mm-hmm.
So Travis could be right about Stitch, but I'm going to go on the record and say he's wrong, and it's only Spider-Man.
I'm going to say that they created the wall climb ability. They'll give as many characters as they feel fit the wall climb ability.
Yeah, yes, Pirates Spidey, you have something to say.
Was I the only one that, whenever they said you could level your characters up to level 20, was I not the only one praying that they would have some level up trick like they had in the first one?
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
20, that's whew.
Well, everything is forward compatible. So how are they going to take away the the fan trick?
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll bring all my Marvel superheroes to Disney Infinity 1 and level them up to 20, and then bring them.
Pirate. I'm going to tell you why you don't want to do that. So just bear with me. I know you like taking the easy way out. That's why you jump from building to building, swinging, because you want to skip all the traffic. But let me tell you why you don't want to use the fan trick for leveling up Disney Infinity 2 characters. The reason you don't want to do that is because it adds a sort of this RPG element, this carrot on the end of the stick that we are constantly talking about. So they brought up the leveling up in the attributes and skill trees part of the discussion. So you're going to be able to unlock new moves, unlock combo hits, unlock additional health and other stat upgrades. And so when you level up a character, you actually get rewarded for that. It's not when I get to level 5, my color changes from bronze to silver to gold to yeah, that's it. So I was thinking platinum, but no, that's not this game. So I mean, there's reason and there's they're giving you motivation to actually level those figures up instead of bouncing your controller on your desk and walking away for.
But
if there's gonna be 20 plus characters at 20 levels, you know what? We're gonna have to do an extra life marathon every weekend to get there.
Well, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Travis. It's all you.
Well, I was just going to say that in Skylanders, when you level up your characters, you get enough coins or whatever, you don't have to do it right away. You usually have to go to a base or a home port to level up your Skylanders characters. So I have a feeling that your leveling points or your skill tree points or whatever will save until you want to decide to use them. I don't think you'll have to use them right when you level up.
I agree. So, do you think like some are going to be more expensive than others? So you're going to kind of have to save up for different.
If you look at one of the spots, they actually showed like a number of skill tree things, and then you could buy them, and I guess they cost a certain amount. So yeah, maybe certain ones will cost more. I know Skylanders has a varying cost as far as gold for different upgrades. So.
Interesting. I did actually take a screen cap of this. I was able to snag it. I know this is something that Jason and we've discussed, and it's not just us. Lots of folks on the show. But this is something that I don't know. I'm really excited about because this finally it gives us reason to own all these characters, other than just the collecting aspect of it. It gives us a reason to buy 2 incredible figures because they're going to have different character abilities and you can upgrade them differently. And some of those abilities and those skill tree features, they might be some might be universal, but if you can't respec and you make a choice and then you're kind of stuck with that choice with that, I'm sure you'll be able to change it with some penalty. But maybe you want to have Captain America have, I don't know, a certain melee ability, and then Thor has a similar unlock, but you took him another direction. You could put 2 different characters down. You're like, oh, I feel like being a brawler right now. I could throw down Thor, or I want to be this other thing that I unlocked. I could throw down Captain America, because I think that's how the skill tree is kind of works with Skylanders. You're locked in.
You are locked in. You're totally locked in, and every choice upgrades, takes away an option. They actually ask you, do you want to go this way or that way? Do you want to be ranged or melee, or do you want to be super ranged or just ranged? It all depends on what the character is. Each character has a different choice. So.
Well, but that adds weight to those choices, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Like I have two of the same character from different generations, leveled up differently, and one of them is awesome in close combat. Same character is leveled up differently, is awesome in ranged combat. So.
Okay.
I hope they don't do that, because in my opinion that flies in the face of the whole principle of that it's supposed to be, you playing with your action figures. And when you play with your own action figures, you define the rules at that moment, if you know what I mean. If you're playing a game, if you're playing with your action figures and it's like, oh no, you want to be able to change that, if you know what I mean. I don't think they should force people to buy multiple of a figure to experience every type of gameplay that character
or
can
you could
have.
They might say you could reset the tree and go from scratch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just respecing. You should have the ability to respec it, so that again, it just feels like, if in your free play session at that moment you say, I want a heavily melee-based Captain America rather than a ranged Captain America, then you should be able to define that and play as you wish, so to speak.
So I don't know if you're going to have to go someplace to unlock it, kind of like the toy box. So in the toy box, you have the vault that you can do spins, and you can access that from the menu at any time. But when you're playing a playset, you have to actually go to areas to buy these new toys. Here's a screen grab I was able to take, and this is the menu system. And you can tell it's a work in progress because there's a virtual reader. This is probably for the devs, and so they don't when they're working, they don't have to put down a physical disc every time. But skill tree is right there in the menu, and if you click on that, it takes you to the skill tree. But then another thing up there, and they mentioned it, but they were still pretty vague about, was this collectibles. What do you guys think the collectibles could be?
Well, the collectibles didn't they team that up with the interiors, the interior part of the toy box, where the more collectibles you collect, the better your interior house or home could be?
Or unlocks.
Yeah.
I think so. Again, it was still pretty vague.
And
so
maybe each character has his own collectibles that you collect throughout either the system, kind of like the treasure chests. Maybe the more you level them up or the more experience you get certain collectibles only specific to that character.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they showed the big stuffed puppy dog that Iron Man gave Pepper Potts. I doubt that would be a collectible that you could unlock with Black Widow.
Right. There was no mention of the vault or spins or anything like that. So I'm curious as to what's that going to work. Like, maybe that's what you're pointing out is probably the new version of that. I don't know, because they definitely didn't mention that stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, the other bit they talked about as far as new for characters is special skills in combat. So they talked about these classes. They talked about a brawler that could be Thor and Captain America. They talked about this kind of range class, which was Hawkeye and Black Widow. And then they didn't actually name it. I made my own name. So they talked about Hulk being having the most powerful
the big
attack
badass
in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, no, I'm calling him like a tank because if you have a brawler, you have to have something kind of bigger than that. They also said, and it's kind of their marketing speech, but powerful and accessible, and expressive and deep, and also very true to the characters. We talked a little bit about, but yes, the animations look awesome, and the combat in this game. Pirate, I actually thought about you specifically because I know you're a huge brawler fan in toy boxes, and the different combinations of combat abilities and just what they showed off got me really excited because it looked like a lot of fun, and there's a lot of variety in there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Incredibles figures. They all have their different abilities, and it's fun to play with them because they all do different things. So that's the great thing about these Marvel characters. They all have different powers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, you can level up these characters to 20, and I don't know. That's the characters themselves looks like they've been upgraded quite a bit.
It's very unclear if they. Forgive me if we've already spoken about this, but I've been up since 3 a.m. Brain's slowly shutting down.
That's commitment right there.
It's unclear whether the original figures will. I mean, it sounds like they will be leveling up to level 20, but it's unclear whether they'll get their own skill trees. But the more we talk about it, I feel like they're going to have skill trees, because who wants a slow, methodic Captain Jack running around a level. It's like when you got the jetpack unlock in the game. Whoever walks around, you just chuck the jetpack on and you fly. You know, they're talking about, clearly that was an issue because they wanted to work on the feeling of moving characters around, but that doesn't help the fact that we've got 20-some characters here that are all slow and virtually useless. Like, what's the motivation to put your old figures on the disc? Because you're clearly not going to choose that over a character that can hover and fly and super jump. So maybe that's a hint towards the fact that we will get some form of skill tree attribute to apply to the old characters to make them interesting to use.
We kind of hinted on it pre-show before we went on air. They kind of hinted on it during the actual presentation, and they kind of shushed it. But like with Skylanders, if you get, let's say, a Spyro for the 3rd generation game, he can level up to level 20. If you put him on a or a Giants or a Spyro, he'll actually go down in levels because they have max caps. So I could totally see them, if you bring the character into 2.0, you upgrade and do your skill trees, but if you bring them back to the original game, they'll go back down to their former self.
Makes sense.
And I think you're pointing out an important point there, Jason, is that, you know, these Disney Infinity 1 characters, they might look a little bit dated if they don't have any upgradability.
Well, they're also similar, particularly like the pirate figures and stuff. They all pretty much do exactly the same attacks, move at almost exactly the same speed. There's very little differentiating the characters. Obviously, visually they're different, but ultimately they all tend to just have a fairly short-range throwable attack or a melee weapon.
Yeah.
The Stars characters, especially Lightning McQueen, I know when the game first came out, I thought eventually I'd be able to level up Lightning McQueen to get him to be Dynaco Blue Lightning McQueen or Radiator Springs Lightning McQueen. So I'd like to see if Disney Infinity 2.0 could bring that in there, or these new power discs where you can change their costumes. If I could change Lightning into a Dynaco Blue or one of his other 20 different costumes they sell at the stores.
Well, it'd also be interesting to see how they integrate, if they integrate at all, the Cars stuff and Disney Infinity 2 outside of racetracks.
Yeah, because Cars is going to be tough because you have those toy box game discs that they mentioned in the starter pack. That once you complete it with an Avengers character, it unlocks it for any character in 1.0 or 2.0. I don't see how you could do that with one of the Cars characters. They might be an exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say bring on planes and boats. I feel like we've had the Cars in the game, and it'd be nice to go a different direction there to get more into it.
I completely agree with that. I want some planes. I really want some planes. All right, gents. Well, that's kind of the figure talk. Let's talk a little bit about some of the toy box changes. So one of the first things they mentioned was structured play. There's been lots of conversations and lots of community feedback about give us something to do in the toy box, and they've handled that pretty well, I think, in the form of having these toy box challenges. There's something to actually work for, but these are scenarios and using different kind of challenges that you have to complete in a toy box, and then doing that. So that's kind of neat. And they also had so in that structured mode, they talked about this dungeon crawler, which is like a Diablo, and then a tower defense type game. So the tower defense one they showed off, you have a certain amount of currency that you can spend in this tower defense toy box, and you have to throw these items down and use all these specific toys that they give you access to accomplish kind of a goal. So I think that's pretty neat. It gives some people that may be kind of lost in the toy box something to focus on and look forward to and work towards. What do you guys think?
I like how it's specific. Those two specific game discs that come with the starter set, that they are Avengers specific until you beat it, and then it breaks it up. And I forget what term they said, but it breaks it open for any of the other toy box characters. Skirmish mode. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Asgard level, they said there's 10 different levels, and then after you beat those, it opens up into skirmish mode. So that's cool. I dig that. I think a lot of people out there will enjoy that, and it provides one more additional value to the toy box once you complete a playset. It's kind of that to me is kind of like the toy box challenges we have, upscaled a little bit. That's like 2.0 of the toy box challenges as far as Jack Skellington's thing where he has to kill the enemies, or I forget what the official names are called, but
the adventures.
The adventures, thank you, not challenges, adventures. Yeah, so it's kind of like that, the 2.0 version of the adventures.
Well, I think they also wanted to give a little more value to the starter pack because they were just including one playset. Granted, it's a massive playset, but including these 2 4 to 5 hour adventures that they have that can eventually be used by anybody it sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That idea also is probably a good way for them to do like smaller non-play sets for some of the toy box only characters that we already got.
That's a good idea there too. Something else that they talked about that's a huge addition, and I know it's something the show has talked about quite a bit, is this new brush system. So now you're going to actually be able to build and customize the size and volume of toy box assets.
This is freaking awesome. I don't have to spend all my day building a stupid town.
Yeah, you paint it on, and then you can also adjust the scale of the buildings, how many floors there are, and you don't just have these like. Right now, it's kind of like a block system, right? You put a block down, you can stack another block, and you can move the blocks around. But this really gives you the ability to customize the size of these items.
Racetrack brush, I mean, it's crazy.
Right, they brought up racetrack, they brought up castle, and you actually can see some of the castle stuff, which is really cool, and that's new. Those are different things we haven't seen before. The city said it paints buildings, it paints streets, paints like city accessories like traffic lights and
the traffic lights were awesome, just popping up here and there.
Yeah. Yep. Something they kind of mentioned with this, and I know this is something that's going to help a lot of people, especially the toy box artists that they use and spend a lot of their time making these really intricate details when that time can be spent in more specific creative ways, is these things that this building AI called builders. You drop them in the world. They look like townspeople with like hard hats and construction workers. You plop them in your world, and they build. They procedurally build around you. And there's different types of builders. There's city builders. There's forest builders. There's tree builders. That was so cool. It really ups the accessibility, and that's one thing they really talked about, is that they don't want to make the toy box any less sophisticated and robust, but they do want to make it easier to use. So what do you think of the builders? Caesar, what do you think about this?
I think it's a great idea. I'm just worried that they'll become sentient and take over. That's the one thing. But no, I think it's a great idea. It's a great concept. I'm very frustrated because I've only played the game on the Wii, and I obviously get to a certain point and I can't build anymore. Like I put like 4 trees down and I'm done. And so I'm going to be coming into a toy box that I can actually play with for the first time, and so I'm kind of excited to see that I have these other options, but I kind of want to explore it on my own for a bit. So it's a great idea, and I know Jason's really happy about the brush altering system.
Well, I think it's good. I think the builders and the brush are going to help. I mean, it would have been perfect in my one and only toy box attempt, the Neverland Racetrack, because after I built the track, I could go, right, well, you guys go and theme it for me. I just need trees and stuff. You know what I mean? I could have just sat back with a coffee and enjoyed the show. But I think that's what the pros will use it for. The pros will just use it for set dressing, because you can know what they said. You can go in and alter whatever they've done or just delete it. So what's it hurt? While you're spending hours getting your perfect track layout, why wouldn't you go send out a ton of builders to start theming your track so you don't have to do it, I guess. So I think that's really, and I think they're alluding to the fact that I think it'll be quite fun to watch. I think my girls would really enjoy to say, oh, go and build a forest, and just seeing them work away would be quite, entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, completely adds life to your toy box.
I think someone in the chat room said Sweatshop 2.0.
Oh, they're townspeople. That's they whistle while they work. Pirate, you're our resident toy box artist. What do you think? Do you think these are good things, and are they good tools that will help toy box artists?
Well, I definitely am thankful for my featured boxes now because, and I'm gonna have to try to get as many as I can before 2.0 comes out, because once everybody has the workers that do all the work for them, I'll never get featured again. So I'm gonna be submitting something in every challenge between now and 2.0 just to see if I can rack up a couple.
That's awesome.
But two of the greatest things they talked about for Toy Box, I thought one of them was really cool, how Blackburn and Venaki admitted the faults of the toy box and said it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the perfect system, but we're going to make it that perfect system that everybody wants in this version. I thought that was really cool that they admitted that. And then the second coolest thing was the door where you can have an interior building. Yeah. I thought was amazing. Everybody wanted that.
If I had to choose and rank from importance of the builders, the brush system, or the interiors, I would say interiors would be ranked higher, simply because it was something that was really difficult to emulate in the first version, and it sounds like it's going to be crazy cool. So all you have to do is put a door on a structure, right, and then it kind of creates an interior. Is that kind of the impression you guys got?
Yeah, basically.
That's what it looks like. There's specific types of doors that you can use.
It reminded me of like in the Pokemon games where you could, create you could dig into a cavern, all of a sudden you make your own little home.
Because it was also modular, you had different sized rooms that you just kind of lock onto to the other rooms to expand on, and so you could have like a square room, then you could have like a rectangle room, and it looked like you could make it pretty robust. They initially talked about how you can use it as kind of like a home, and you could put collectibles in there, like we discussed. Trophies.
Yeah, they had the home setting. Yeah.
Customizations. Some specifics I took note of that were just cool, where they had kind of Iron Man suits. They had a Captain Shield coffee table, and they said you can make your own trophy room, and that was cool. That's all I would necessarily need. But then they threw this other thing at us, and they said, you can use interiors not just for home, but you can make it like dungeons. And I think, as a non-toy box artist, I have a feeling the dungeon idea is what could really, really empower toy box artists to make some awesome, awesome games, especially if you throw in some of those template creations like a dungeon crawler template. Yes.
Well, you were talking about this when this show first started, how you were making a Haunted Mansion toy box, and it's just like the Haunted Mansion toy box piece in Disney Infinity 1. It's just but imagine if you could put a door on that set piece and actually enter the Haunted Mansion. I think that's a better effect than what we currently have available.
I totally agree. And actually, this kind of throws back to a recent conversation we had just like 3 weeks ago when we were talking about play sets, toy play sets in the actual physical form outside of Disney Infinity.
And opening them up?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
So you put that door on the outside of the Haunted Mansion, and then it kind of creates this instant interior, like you're talking about. That's so cool. And talk about a good way of making dark rides. Agent Colson Rocks in the chat room is saying it would make a perfect dark ride entrance.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's exciting. I'm a sucker for anything that has like player housing, but then when you guys start to talk about like a Haunted Mansion or these dungeons, then I get really even more excited.
I also like the fact, because for one reason, I can't lock the whole Logic toy and connecting them all, it totally loses me. I have no idea what half of them even do, let alone how to connect them properly. So the fact that you can get these Logic toy templates and like install them in your toy box, and all of a sudden all your mechanics will work. You just have to place different components. For me, it's awesome. I can create a game or a race or something without actually having to connect all of the stuff. Granted, it kind of lessens, all these factors kind of lessen all the hard work some of these toy box artists have done, but I think in general it will raise the quality of the toy boxes for everyone, because the toy box artists can just make their stuff, the experienced ones can just make their stuff that much better. So
I agree with that sentiment completely, but again, I'm not a toy box artist. That being said, though, I think a lot of the tricks toy box artists use currently in their toy boxes are workarounds because they don't have other means to do it. And so if, yes, they make it kind of simplified in some respects just to make it easier, yes, it's making it easier for everyone, but then it's also providing, hopefully, it's providing features that are currently unavailable in those toy box artists' toy boxes. Some things, other things, improvements they mentioned, we talked about earlier, is like, what is the fireworks cannons? It's a signal that you have completed whatever you're trying to do, right?
Right.
A pretty limiting set, and so they didn't mention more than this, but they said you are going to be able to finish these toy boxes, and hopefully you can add some story elements. But the only one
they kind of mentioned fades. I believe they kind of mentioned fades.
That's such a weird one to mention, fades. I mean,
well, it's a start and an end. I mean, it's a defined end.
Do you think that means more than just fade to black and fade? You know what I mean? Like,
I think you're going to be able to include text, and that text will also be a title and kind of a fade out finishing the end.
That would make more sense. That'd be, I mean, that alone would be nice to be able to have an opening story piece and a conclusion to a story.
Yeah. I'm really hoping, too, they have some sort of cinematic element to it. Right now we can lock the camera controls, but it would be cool if we could actually program the camera to do a certain path to create kind of cinematics. That's wishful thinking, though.
They're kind of cool.
It would be.
Definitely the best two toy boxes finales that I think have ever been done so far have been Mighty Didus's Owl's Quest, where at the very end you got to ride the magic carpet with Jasmine, and it was just, Lauren did an excellent job on that. It totally took storytelling to make that magic happen. And Tyler Cole's TIE Forces, when he Rick Isley everybody at the end song, I thought was a great way to end a toy box.
Yeah. And although I think they kind of, and Caesar, just so you know, you had some audio there, so when you're ready to talk, just unmute yourself. But another thing they kind of mentioned around the Logic Toy story elements were online leaderboards and stat screens. So I don't know if those are just going to be toy box elements to include, and so it would be cool to have leaderboards with your toy box, and the stat screen could mean like you've completed this level, and I don't know, you've leveled up or something, not outside of the toy box leveling. So you guys, why did they mention 4-player multiplayer? Because that currently exists in the toy box now for everything, unfortunately, again, but the Wii and the PC and iPad version. So why do you think they...
I think they might have mentioned it because they figured out a way to do it on every platform. I mean, they dropped the Wii, and maybe they figured out how to do it on iOS and PC. I don't know.
I'm hoping they accidentally said that, but what they are really wanting to say was 4-player multiplayer and playsets. But
I'm thinking it could be, because they were talking about the playsets at that point. They were still talking about the Avengers playset in the beginning. So.
Well, how else would you do multiplayer on a playset if you can only have 2 characters per base anyway?
You allow people from other sets to come on other platforms to come
online.
in online.
So then that's definitely what they were talking about.
Or Disney Infinity Marvel 2.0 comes with another base, and every one of the consoles has more than one USB port.
Four ports, so to speak,
Yeah.
or two bases. That's a possibility, but I don't think so. I hope it's the latter. We want 4-player online multiplayer.
Yeah.
In
Outside the toy box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that might have been a mistake saying that aloud.
I don't know. I don't necessarily know it's a mistake because, like you said, I mean, they are including the base with some starter packs. They might not. Maybe they think everyone needs two bases, so why not make 4-player in-house?
I don't know. The other thing they mentioned. So, Travis, I'm sorry, I did skip ahead without going into this a little more detail. So, templates, you can. There's different types of game types, and one of those they showed off was the collector game type. And so this was what a lot of the Toy Box Adventure, a lot of the challenges within playsets are these collector with the balloons. And so they threw down this template, and then they just added balloons.
Right.
So it was cool to see a actual example of that.
Right. I agree.
They also said 80 power disc. 80 new power disc, and they did go through some of these, and so I'm going to mention a few, and just go ahead and feel free to chime in when you guys want to talk about them. The one that was most interesting to me, and we kind of briefly mentioned it with the Rocket Raccoon and what's his name? Groot. Thank you. I knew it was GT something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you have this ability to team up with characters, so you can have kind of these secondary characters that aren't playable. It looks like they AI and they assist you, and those are power disc apparently. And
they are circular power discs.
Awesome. What do you guys think of this? I think this is such a cool idea.
Yeah, I love it because it's going to get more characters in the game. We don't have to wait around for artists to finish designing action figures, and we can just perhaps get some more of those obscure figures that maybe wouldn't work terribly well as a collectible figure, but you still want them. Like I would, even though it's a fairly major character, I would imagine Tinkerbell would be a good character in that sort of context. Even though Tinkerbell would be cool as an actual collectible figure as well, but I think Tinkerbell would work well in that sort of mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of the smaller sidekicks like Mushu or Miko or somebody be cool to.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Kingdom Hearts, you could summon the genie and the genie could come and help you out.
Yeah.
In the two Marvel ones that they talked about, they talked about in the announcement they talked about Iron Patriot. Mm-hmm. And then they also mentioned they also have a power disc released for Winter Soldier. So there's two there that are Captain America specific, but since Captain America is part of the Avengers playset, but Captain America movie just came out, so that's why you have the Winter Soldier, I'm assuming.
I'm curious about the functionality. Does it work like, do you press a button and the guy comes out, or are they out the whole time? It's a great concept, and I'm really excited about that Winter Soldier one.
Here's that Winter Soldier one you're talking about.
Yeah, there you go. That looks sweet.
It's cool because I know a lot of people love the ability disc and the round disc. Personally, my favorite are the hexagonal, and I like the fact that these are round power disc. So they, to me, have a little bit more value than they would otherwise.
I think they might be functioning as, I think what Caesar said, there might be a button function, because there is another one here, another round power disc that's Shield Helicarrier Strike, and you can send down a missile strike from above. Your enemies will need to take cover. So that might be something that you lay down, have underneath your character, and then you just hit a button, and maybe it's a rechargeable one that happens every so often. But you just hit a button and it sends down a strike.
So here's that one you were just talking about, Travis.
Yeah, that one right there, with Nick Fury.
So can someone tell me, again, my brain's just not working, so could someone tell me this number 80, how does that, where does that fit as far as our existing quantity of power discs?
We had 65, 67.
So is that series 1, 2, and 3 was 67, was it?
Some 60, between 60 and 65. Wait, 67.
So it's comparable. It's not less. It's not necessarily a great deal more. It's about the same.
63, something like that. Yeah.
They also said in the show that it was going to be 2 waves up for a total of 80. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 40 discs each.
Hmm.
So we better be getting our complete power disc albums. I
was just saying, no mention of booster packs, did they? They didn't actually show anything as far as that's concerned.
They didn't show booster packs. You are correct, but I'm assuming they'll still have them.
Yeah, me too. I hope not, but that's what I expect.
Actually, it's 63 total. 63.
Oh, current.
63 current. But 6 of them are, I'm assuming, are going to show up in one of these 2 waves. The ones that were at currently just Toys R Us. So.
Okay. Another thing they talked about the Power Disc, I know it made the show very happy, is costume changes. So now you have variant costumes. And I love the fact that they are Power Disc and they are not new figures that you have to buy, although sometimes the figures would be cool. I like this better. It's cheaper.
But, you know, Paul over on our Facebook page, he does a great bunch of customs. I have a feeling he's going to take at least these 3 discs that have been, shown, the Gamma Ray Hulk, which is Gray Hulk. They have the Black and White Iron Man, and then they have the Sentinel Liberty Captain America World War II costume. I have a feeling we're going to see customs from him with those, to actually look what it would look like in the game. So.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that too. Those would be. I would like to see that. They did mention new skies and ground textures, which was pretty obvious. We expected that. They did show off some vehicles just to run those down. They showed off Captain's motorcycle. It looked like Captain's motorcycle.
I think it was the Hydra motorcycle, actually.
Hydra motorcycle. Okay. Hey, they're getting some Hydra stuff in there.
You do see him riding another motorcycle, so it does look like his motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah, there was 2. It looked like the Hydra one might have been the one Nick Fury was riding on, and then the one that Captain was riding on looked more traditional, but those could be switched back and forth too.
Can we go back to the customization disc? Because we glossed over that pretty quick.
Sure, the sky and ground.
Yeah, they have one that's for Iron Man, and the sky is supposedly the view from his mask. So picture the whole sky as you would see like in the Marvel movies with Iron Man flying around. I think that's going to look really cool. And
that
then
will.
The terrain is supposed to be if Tony Stark designed your level of what the buildings would look like. So I'm guessing a lot of reds. And that one's awesome. And then the other one is World War Hulk. So the sky would turn into green, and then the ground would be just like Hulk destroyed everything.
Right.
Those power discs are going to be awesome. They're going to be well sought after.
Yeah. That looks really cool.
I'm really excited to see the Stark from the suit one. Personally, I think that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, sorry about that, Steve. Thanks for bringing us back around, though. Where are we? So
thanks for swinging us back around.
Oh.
I think Caesar wins the pun award for the evening. Some more.
You can keep it.
They showed off the mini helicarrier, which is I dug that. That was pretty cool. What do you guys think of that?
That was cool, but they didn't show that as a power disc, so I don't know if that's going to be another power disc or if it's going to be an unlockable.
Yeah.
They also didn't show the Sky Cycle. They didn't show that as a power disc. And there are multiple. The Nick Fury motorcycle looks like the Spidey cycle from the Spider-Man game. from the Spider-Man show. So I think there's multiple motorcycles and stuff. So.
And they had Lola, which is the red car from Agents of Shield, which I thought it was cool how they're bringing all the Marvel properties in there. The television shows, the animated series, the movies, comic books. It's full circle. I think that's brilliant how they're incorporating everything. It's kind of like Disney Infinity, where they're getting Pixar and every Disney, everything in the canon.
Yeah, nothing's untouchable.
Makes me think we might get a Agent Coulson figure.
I think he might be NPC.
Yeah, I do too. But Caesar, did Craig ever say anything? Because they kept asking him if he wanted to be in Disney Infinity, and they kept cutting him off, or he really didn't say that that's the next medium he wanted to be in. I was kind of waiting for that ending.
Greg, right?
I don't remember. I don't remember what they joked about, but
he said he wanted to be in Dancing with the Stars.
So I think he would be a perfect mission giver. But he couldn't he be one of these team up characters? Could he be a power disc where he like assists one of the other main characters?
Takes a shot for you?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I agree with you, Pirate. It's the fact that nothing's untouchable for them, and they're even using the TV show Agents of Shield, because that car is awesome. It like is a sports car, like an old sports car, but then it also has hover abilities, so that's cool.
Yeah, Patrick texted me. Papa Echo texted me during the conference, and he was excited that Disney Infinity 2.0 was bringing in the tradition of Disney horses. When they showed Asgard, he saw a horse.
Oh yeah.
Called it Asgardian horse.
I love horses at Disney Infinity.
Jason, that made you happy, right? Because horses.
My eyes did light up at that moment. Yes, awesome. There's
now,
my
are they
vehicle.
new horses, or can we just bring horses in from other? I mean, because horses brought in from 1.0. So,
Well, they're power discs, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna party around Asgard with Tantor the elephant.
And that was kind of it for the announcement. I mean, there's a couple things we're going to discuss here, but that was like the meat of the content. That was all of the Marvel stuff. It was all of kind of the toy box upgrades. And it was a lot. Jason was talking before the show. He's like, you know what? There's still a lot of unanswered questions, but I feel content with what they showed today. And I didn't walk out of there, or in his example, he didn't wake up at 2 a.m. for nothing. It was well worth the time. Do you guys kind of agree it was a well-rounded event?
Yeah.
It left me excited, wanting more, but it also left me crazed. There's a lot of people out there that don't like the fact that it was just Marvel announced. And they definitely are making their points heard on the internet.
I have to say they could have picked a better time to have this event, because we're getting around the lull of Disney Infinity 1, where there's not that many releases left, and what are we going to do now? And people we're starting to lose interest, and now it's bringing everybody back and talking about it. And I know after I don't have any Series 3 Power Disc, but after I saw that this event, it made me want to go out and make sure I have everything complete before the next one comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the fact that you can bring everything forward as far as characters, it just makes 2.0 that much better. So.
Well, and it gives, when the second one does release, so first off, it gives people interested in 2.0, it gives them time to kind of get introduced to the game and start buying stuff now, knowing it's not going to be a purchase that only lasts them a couple months. But then once it is released, it also gives the collectors, the people that have gone out and got all the Power Disc, it gives value in that, and hopefully those Power Disc will still be available online or at retail. Caesar, did you feel good after? I mean, you were there, and I'm sure it was even more. You did an awesome job again, live tweeting the entire event. Did you feel like it was an accomplished event?
Well, no, thanks for the compliment. And I thought it was great. It was a lot more than I expected. It was. I'm very excited for the figures. I got into Disney Infinity only for the figures. There's a blog that I follow, and he posted some pictures of the Mr. Incredible figure a long time ago, and I was like, oh wow, I really want that figure, and that eventually led to the serious addiction that I have now. But
we all have that.
Yeah, but the one thing I just realized about this new Marvel thing is that when you play a playset, it's pretty easy to pick what figure you want to play as. And I think with this Marvel thing, it's gonna be kind of like it's gonna be difficult picking who I'm gonna play the playset as, like, because they all seem pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. Jason, any last minute words on the meat of the announcement?
No, as I said, I just think I think they gave out the right amount of information, because I think if they had given any more, particularly about the toy box, I would have been less motivated to play the current toy boxes, and I think toy box artists would be frustrated because they just want all the new stuff and they've still got a little times to wait as yet. So I think it was just the perfect amount of information, had the right leaks and the right Easter eggs in it, but I'm fully expecting a blowout, lot more information E3.
Well, they're also trying to attract a new audience too. They're not trying to attract the Disney. Well, I mean, they are and they aren't. They're reaching out where they're like, hey, we definitely want to make sure that we listen to our fans and we are including content that fans of Infinity One would like. But then at the same time, Avengers is huge. They're continuing the Avengers push, and so I think in some ways Avengers is more universal than Disney, at least pop culturally right now, like in the present day. And so I think there's value in that, and I do think Marvel is going to make this game blow up, which is going to be good for Disney fans, because that means we're going to be getting more Disney content, because the means to do so are going to be there where they may not otherwise be. The last couple items I really thought was cool. So they discussed that over 10 million toy boxes have been downloaded, which is absolutely insane. They talked about how they've really taken care of listening to the community, and I know, Jason, this is something you and I spoke a lot about early in the show's life, when it was just you and I in the show, and we talked about how, the community engagement just wasn't really there. They weren't really communicating, and I think they've really taken strides to listen to the community, talk back with the community, and actually, consider their customers for their products. And so first off, I want to applaud them on that, but they've gone above and beyond. One thing they've done, and they announced it here, this is something I've never heard. I've been playing video games all my life, and it's something that I pay close attention to, and I've never heard of a game developer do this before. So they announced jobs, and it's publicly posted right now. So if you are interested in getting a job with the developers of Disney Infinity, go check this out. But what they're doing is actually hiring toy box artists, and they are going to be people like you and I. There's members of the community that we know of, that we talk about on the show, that are applying for some of those jobs. They announced their first hire, Crazy by Nick. Pirate, I know you talked to him a lot on the forums, and he is a long-standing toy box winner, and he's won a lot of toy boxes.
He just won his. They released the Disney Parks toy boxes already for tonight, and he just won his 9th toy box for his Pirates of the Caribbean attraction toy box that he built. And who knows, that might be his last one that he's allowed to submit.
It'll allow for other people to win.
Yeah.
He's a ringer.
So, but yeah, I've played it already. It's brilliant. His real name is Stuart. I can't wait to see what he has in store for us as he works for the big boys.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck to Stuart. Good luck to anyone that goes out for one of these positions.
I know Mighty Jitis. I know Lauren Mighty Jitis, another big winner. She's I believe she's already scheduled an interview with him, so she's already passed the first step. So I know she's listening. Good luck, Lauren.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't think there's any more proof to show that they care about the community and that they really want this game to give back to the community and not just so they can take our money. I mean, we've talked about on the show how like the devs should take notice of the toy box artists because what they can accomplish is amazing, and this is them taking notice.
Well, didn't they say that Crazy by Nick and any of these other hires are strictly going to be making free content? I believe they mentioned that. Their job is strictly for downloadable free content.
That's cool. So even though maybe they may not be as accessible, and who knows, we don't know what their agreement's going to look like, but one might assume that they wouldn't have the freedom they have now as just toy box artists that are fans of the game, but just knowing that they're still giving back to the game in the same ways that they have been, that's also community fan service right there.
I, for one, would like to see them, hopefully they're listening to this so they can suggest it to their new bosses. I would like them to become full-time educators and be doing a ton of Twitch streaming so that anybody can clue into their streams and watch them build this free content and be asking questions live with people that clearly know how to work it to its fullest. Yeah. I think that'd be really cool. I'd thoroughly enjoy if I'm working away just watching the toy box being created before my eyes on something like Twitch. I think that'd be super entertaining, and you'd learn a lot just by watching the masters do their work.
I've been talking to a bunch of these potential hires, and I think it'd be, and one of the things I've been telling them is, imagine that you could build your toy boxes for Disney Infinity, and imagine if they turn that toy box meter off. How awesome!
That would be insane.
Less building power there. I mean, they would just go crazy. I don't see them getting any sleep. They'd be building toy boxes nonstop.
The way you said it, I just imagine like a switch. They could say, oh,
yeah,
switch the toy box meter off there, and go ahead.
It's red. Now it's green.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Well, yeah. So good luck to everyone who's doing that. We can't wait to kind of see how that whole thing plays out. Again, I've never heard of anyone doing this. I've heard of community members getting hired before, but not actively being reached out to like this. Is pretty awesome. So guys, that's it. I mean, we're sitting at like almost 2 hours here. It's a lot of content. That is Disney Infinity Marvel in a nutshell. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more.
Will, I don't know if we talked about it, but I want to definitely highlight on it. Going back to a lot of people getting upset that Disney was not mentioned, they did announce and they did specifically say that Disney stuff is coming.
Yes.
It's not just the teases in the trailer. They specifically said it because John Vignacci was like, "Oh, I don't have to tell all the people on Twitter." Mm-hmm. There is going to be announcements for Disney properties, not Marvel, not Star Wars, Disney properties in the future for Disney Infinity 2.0.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a great point. Thanks for mentioning that. I expect, today's event was a Marvel event, and like all Marvel movies, there was a stinger at the end, and so Director Fury came back online and said, keep your eyes and ears open, and we are going to be talking more Disney Infinity at E3, and I would expect to see a lot more Disney info at E3.
Yeah, and then think of how big it's going to be at Comic-Con this year. They'll have
Huge.
their own booth.
That's when they're going to give out the Agent Coulson figure. You'll see.
Great, and I'm not going to be there. Dang it.
Only if Greg signs them all.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. That would.
And I just want to say before we sign off, I think I'd just like to give a big congratulations to all the developers and everyone pretty much involved in Infinity, because from what I saw today, I think it's a incredible feat to put out the kind of product that it looks like it's going to be.
Oh yeah.
Arguably probably less than 12 months, or thereabouts. Like, they haven't had a huge amount of time to iterate on this, and it looks like there's been some incredible improvements, and also super exciting for the future, because if they this amount of improvements over each version, we're going to end up with an incredible game, and it must be super exciting for them to be able to just hone their craft. It really is like they're building a game engine rather than a game. They're like continually upgrading, full-on game engine that we get to play with and enjoy. And I just think it's an amazing effort. So well done, everyone who's had a hand in it.
Amen to that.
They're not going to send you free stuff, Jason. I just want you to know that.
All right, I take it all back.
Well, it's funny. The announcement today was about an hour, and we have broken the announcement down in 2 hours. So I think we've done a pretty effective job in that. If you've enjoyed this show, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Disney Infinity TV. Check the podcast out, Inside Disney Infinity, on iTunes or Stitcher Radio for all of you Android and Windows phone users. Also, check out all of our friends, Vinylmation Kingdom, Pixar Post, VG Podcast, and the Disney Infinity Fans Forum. You can find all of their links on our website, InsideDisneyInfinity.com. And please stop on by there, say hello. That is where we do the live streams. So thanks to everyone in the chat room tonight. It was a huge group. We've never had this many people, and the conversation was just flowing. Normally we engage the chat a little bit more, but we had lots to cover tonight. So, but we appreciate everyone showing up for that. So thank you, and we hope to see you next week at 8 p.m. on Monday evening. Travis from Vinylmation Kingdom, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I had a lot of fun. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I had a great time. It's been a long day, just like Jason said. He's probably had a longer one than I have, but it's been a long day. So.
Well, thank you for all the hard work you do on Vinylmation Kingdom, bringing us all this info, and thanks for staying up late and talking with us.
Yeah, we have a great time. We fell into Disney Infinity right before the first one launched, so this is all new to us. So bear with us on our site if we seem to be following and getting a little lagged behind. But we came in right before the first launch, so this is all these announcements and stuff. We're like, what are we doing? So.
Well, yeah, good things to come. I'm sure we're going to see lots of info coming soon.
Yeah. So.
Pirate Spidey. I kept calling you Steve throughout the show. I don't know why I did that. Pirate Spidey from Disney Infinity Fans. You are a moderator there. It's a great, awesome community with half the people from the chat room I know are in there, and they're always talking. The Toy Box artists have a huge, great welcoming presence there. They're really friendly and helpful to the Toy Box artists. So, Pirate, did you have fun tonight in your pirate outfit or your Spidey outfit?
I had a great time. I haven't worn this costume since Halloween 2010, so it was a good reunion for me on that.
So it smells.
Yeah, I haven't washed it or anything. But, yeah, thank you for having me. It's always great to have new Infinity news to talk about. It's a great show. We didn't have to come up with different things to talk about. We already knew what we were talking about. So it was fun. Thank you for having me. Come visit me at the fans forums. I live there, literally. And yeah, thanks. Hope everyone has a good night.
Yeah.
Infinite possibilities.
Yeah. You've been teasing that Spider-Man outfit for pretty much half of our shows, so it's glad to see you finally in it.
I'm sure it will be a recurring character on this show, but yeah, I got to wear this for the
watch
12 Days of Infinity, so you know.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah, go find Steve on the Disney Infinity Fans Forum. Next up, we have Caesar from ActionFigureInsider.com. I got it, didn't I?
Wow, I'm impressed. That's impressive.
Thank you so much. You were kind of at the event, kind of representing the show, and you were live tweeting the whole thing, and I know it was a lot of hard work. I could barely keep up watching it, just like as an observer, but you're sitting here live tweeting and taking pictures. You did a fantastic job, and we really appreciate having you on the show tonight and actually getting your first-person perspective of the event.
Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. I've listened to the show from I'm pretty sure the beginning. I really like it. I'm really into this game that's sucked a lot of our wallets. And I'm playing it on Wii, so I have to deal with a lot more than you guys. But Yeah, thanks. It was really fun, and I can't wait for E3. I already signed up for the press for E3.
Awesome, and we'll have you on the show again. So you write for Action Figure Insider. Do you want to just give us a little rundown of what you do there and anything else you might be doing?
Yeah, I mean, you can hit me up on Twitter at GeekSaber. I've been writing for AFI since like 2007 or 2008. I just have a blog there, and I also write news and stuff. We cover toy news and stuff, but I mean, this game is a clear crossover and has crossover appeal. We have lots of Marvel fans on our site, and this is going to bring in a lot of Marvel fans. So check us out, actionfigureinsider.com. I write under the name of Masked Avenger.
Nice,
and
nice.
This game is really like a whole new ground for. We cover gaming news too, so this just kind of brings everything together, and very excited for the next phase. So.
Cool. Well, yeah, you guys have a great site, so everyone should definitely check out actionfigureinsider.com.
Right.
I can't wait to see more Disney Infinity news there.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Jason Haynes. It is still early in the day for you, but you've been up since 2 a.m.
3 a.m. I got up at 3 a.m. Don't make me out too much.
Okay.
But yes, it is just gone 2 p.m. Yeah, so I'm ready for a coffee. I haven't had one for a while, so the show went too long.
Well, you can go get your coffee. Again, everyone in the chat room, thank you so much, and we can't wait to see you all and everyone who's listening next week on next week's show. And we're out.
Oh, yay!
Man.
Good one.
Good show, guys. We're still live, just so everyone knows, but we're not really. The show is over now. That was a lot of fun. Caesar, again, thank you so much, man, for joining us. I can't wait to. We'll be keeping in touch. We'll have you on again, and
sure.
It's good to know you're going to E3. That's exciting.
Yeah, I haven't been approved yet, but hopefully I will be. And the criteria is pretty easy to get in, yeah, I'm excited. I'll be back anytime. I love the show.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you listening. It was cool to actually meet you in person and stuff. We're gonna have you back. And Travis Pirate, thank you guys so much for coming on as always and giving us your perspective on the crazy event.
It was crazy.
Now you guys can get some sleep. It's 2 hours ahead of your time.
True.
So. It's now May 1st.
That's how decade you are. All right, gents. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast now. And, yeah, I guess we